So, ladies and gentlemen, now that most of us have some food, I would like to invite Nick York, Director with the Independent Evaluation Group, to come and get us started. And then we can hear quite immediately about the report that has been the background for this discussion, and then we can hear and debate and discuss with our panel about where the understanding of the results and the performance of the World Bank is taking us in the context of the overall opportunities and new ideas that have come up in the last month and or if not a year. Over to you, Nick.
Thank you very much, Monica. So on behalf of IEG, can I formally welcome all of you to this event entitled Taking the Pulse, How Can the World Bank Group Perform Better? As you can see, we have a distinguished panel from different parts of the World Bank, both the global practices, cross-cutting solution areas and the regions. Annette is coming shortly. And from outside the bank, Alison Evans. A very warm welcome to all the panel. Also to you, the audience, both here and on the web. We have some streaming to our colleagues in different locations. We hope we can engage you in the discussion in a very sort of interactive way, and Monica will help us to do that shortly. As the title of the session suggests, Taking the Pulse, this is the time of year when we all get to reflect on our performance, however welcome that is or not. The Results and Performance Report, the RAP, which we produce every year, had a very lively discussion at the board. In fact, some of the colleagues who were present are here, and welcome to them. That was before the spring meetings. The key issue they focused on for the third year in succession was portfolio quality. Why is it going down? Why does it vary across different types of instrument and different countries, and what is driving it? So in other words, what can we do about it? Shaolun Sun, our task team leader in IEG, who's written the report, will summarise what we found. Great thanks to her and the team for all the hard work on the report. She'll tell us about the overall trends, but also what we learnt about the drivers of performance, which is what we really hope to get a good discussion on today, including your own perspective. I don't know about you, there are two performance tools in my house which I consistently try to avoid. One is the mirror. It's never a pleasant experience for me to look in the mirror, so I tend to shave in the dark wherever possible. And that has predictable results. The other one is the bathroom scales. They always tell me what I already knew, that I'm not getting any slimmer, and that my progress on reforming myself is very slow. Another alternative source of honest feedback is my wife and lifelong partner, who also encourages me to reform myself. And so far, she hasn't sought other partners. Now, the World Bank, on the other hand, IEG might be seen as the mirror to find out the honest truth with no cosmetics, no tarting us up. That's not always easy, but I think it's better to get your information from us than before the lifelong partners start looking elsewhere. Perhaps a better way of looking at IEG, though, is more like a personal trainer, someone who makes you sweat, but also has your best interests at heart and helps you to get there faster. More seriously, I'm sure we all agree that evaluation evidence is most interesting and most useful when it genuinely supports learning. Now, this report is actually one of a series of different ways we've been looking at the World Bank Group and helping the organisation to do the best it can. So this is the third RAP, which focuses on drivers of quality in this way. It also has looked at the Millennium Development Goals and the SDGs, but that was discussed in the spring meetings. Other IAG reports recently have looked at how the bank learns. Two very interesting reports, which I do encourage you to have a look at. Also, what it understands by selectivity, how results are looked at, including in DPOs and other instruments, the Getting to Poverty report, and so on. And in fact, in the next few months, we'll continue that sort of endeavour to give you a broad perspective on these results and learning related issues. For example, we'll do an early report on the new country diagnostic and CPF frameworks. We'll look at the P4R instrument, and most interestingly, in relation to this, we're looking at the bank's own self-evaluation systems. And then next year, we start to look at shared prosperity as well. So please do keep reading our reports. I hope you'll find the discussion interesting. And with that, I'll hand over to Xiaolun, who's done all the hard work, together with Sid Edelman, Shui, and others in the audience. And she'll present the main findings, and then we'll move on to our panel discussion. So I hope you enjoy yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks again for coming. I need help. So in the next 10 minutes or so, I will highlight the key points from the IEG report on World Bank Group results and performance. The goal is to review some of the main messages in order to set the stage for today's discussion. As you know, every RAP has two parts, a common theme that runs through all IEG RAP reports and a special topic that changes every year. So today's focus will be on the common theme, the performance of bank group operations in delivering development results. So there it is. Overall, this year's RAP has three key messages. There are several bright spots. The country programs, IFC advisory services, and the MIGA all achieved good results or improving results in recent years. However, both bank lending and IFC investment have continued to encounter difficulties in reverting some kind of the long-term trend that we detected several years ago. So that would be one of the focus of today's discussion. In order to shed some light on what can be done in order to revert this downward trend, we looked into the drivers of lending performance and found that certain behavior and process factors that within bank management control strongly influence the quality of project design and implementation and ultimately development outcomes. So let's look at the bright spots first. This slide shows the percentage of successful country programs since 2007. As you can see, performance improved after 2010, and the performance of FCS countries have caught up with non-FCS IDA countries. However, the gap between IBRD and IDA has remained. Looking at the IFC, we see that IFC advisory services has really picked up the performance. Last year, so 2013, the last year we have data, success rate reached 69%, above the corporate target of 65% for the first time since 2009. And all business lines improved their performance when you compare the last 3-year period, so 2011 to 13, with the previous 3-year periods. MIGA, we don't have a slide here. We have reviewed 43 projects, and 70% of them were rated as successful. As we have more MIGA projects, we can do more interesting trend analysis and compare different industry groups. So now let's take a deep breath and look at some of the weaknesses in bank group performance. This slide shows the success rate of bank and IFC lending projects. The point here is not to compare the two institutions. They are ultimately not comparable because of differences in evaluation and rating methodologies. What we can see is, from this chart, is a seeming wild race to the bottom between the two organizations. And as you can see from the red line, which uses a left-hand scale, there is a sharp decline in terms of percentage of projects that's rated successfully. It's a 10 percentage point drop between 2004, 2006, that's the height of bank lending success, to today. With IFC, the drop is even more precipitous. It's 14 percentage point within a shorter period. In particular, there is a sharper decline in IBRD countries. So this chart shows not the improvement, it's the gap, so the decline between the 2-3 year periods. Whereas in IDA countries, the percentage of projects that were successful dropped by 2 percentage points. In IBRD, that's 6 percentage points. In IFC, the magnitude is somewhat different, but the gap between IBRD and IDA is very similar. To understand the drivers of bank group lending performance, we delved into IEG project level evaluations in order to identify the common factors that either positively or negatively contributed to project success. This slide shows most frequently discussed design issues among bank group projects. So we're focusing on the bank projects first. Among the positive factors, active learning from banks' past engagement, either in the country or in the sector or more broadly globally, is identified as most important factor influencing the success of the project. By contrast, poor M&E framework, so monitoring evaluation framework, is often a cause of a project failure because it affects the bank's ability to recognize and resolve implementation problems down the road. Turning to implementation support, the single most important factor is bank team's ability to resolve the whole range of issues that may arise during implementation in real time. This is different from the formal structured midterm review, but refers to continuous attention to the project, quick identification of emerging problems, and finding solutions to resolve them before they escalate into something unmanageable. Good problem solving is often supported by other positive factors, such as frequent or timely mission and the constructive relationships with the main stakeholders. Infrequent missions, on the other hand, is often an indication of overall inadequate attention of the bank team to the project. Typically, both positive and negative factors are present in every project. For example, in the 2001 health sector reform project in Lesotho, we identified several very positive factors, including drawing lessons from a previous project in the country in the same sector, which helped ensure proper focus of this new project. The team carried out appropriate analytical work, including political economy assessment, analysis of institutional capacity of the stakeholders, especially the government counterpart, and the sector analysis to make sure all the possible technical issues are properly addressed up front. And the team engaged with a wide range of stakeholders, including political opposition, as well as some of the more normal partners like donors, etc. The project also had some shortcomings, such as too much focus on outputs rather than outcomes, and also inadequate attention to strenuous relationship between the government and the key service provider. But on balance, the positive aspects outweighed the negatives, and the project was rated as satisfactory for quality at entry. By contrast, in the 2000 agriculture technology and the rural education project in Nicaragua, there were lots of implementation problems that were not resolved, which was mainly due to a lack of bank advocacy to establish a monitoring and evaluation system in the relevant ministry. So the bank was not able to identify problems quickly when they arose. There was also a problem. The bank was not able to manage internal staff rotation during the implementation of the project, which hurt bank's credibility and also the relationship with other counterparts. In the end, when the government diverted funds from the project to other programs unrelated to the project objectives, the bank was not in a position to do anything about it. And this project, the quality of supervision was rated negatively. The outcome was also disappointing. So finally, I will only mention a few high-level findings from the RAP report on the drivers of IFC investment success, because a separate session is being organized to get deeper into IFC-specific issues in a couple of weeks. The most important takeaway from our analysis is that the quality of work in screening, appraisal, and structuring each transaction is a key predictor of project success, and that risk identification without proper mitigation is insufficient to ensure delivery of development outcomes. So to sum it up, the Banker Group has made progress in delivering development results in several areas, but continue to struggle in ensuring good outcome achievement in its financing operations. The factors that drive lending performance, such as applying lessons from past engagements, addressing technical and procurement issues, developing a strong results framework, and proactively solving implementation issues in real time, are all within management control. So thank you.
Thank you.